Story 1. I've been working at this supermarket for about 4 years now, starting as a cart collector and working my way up to assistant manager. It's one of those big chain stores in a suburban shopping center, and we see all kinds of customers throughout the week. Most people are decent, but working in retail definitely teaches you that some folks have completely lost touch with reality. We do promotional events pretty regularly, especially on weekends. Free samples are always popular because they bring in foot traffic and usually boost sales of whatever product we're featuring. This particular Saturday, we were doing a cheese promotion with a local dairy company. They'd set up a nice display near the front of the store with toothpicks and small cubes of about 6 different cheese varieties. The promotion was going smoothly all morning. Families would stop by, try a few samples, maybe buy some cheese, and move on with their shopping. The representative from the dairy company was friendly and knowledgeable, answering questions about the different types and where they were made. It was exactly the kind of low-key community event that makes these promotions worthwhile. That's when she showed up. This woman marched through the front entrance like she was on a mission. She had that look that immediately puts retail workers on alert, the expression that says someone's about to make your day more difficult than it needs to be. She bypassed all the shopping carts and headed straight for the sample station. The dairy representative was helping a family with young kids when Karen pushed past them and started grabbing cheese cubes by the handful. Dairy rep: "Ma'am, please use the toothpicks provided for sampling." Karen: "I don't need toothpicks. These are free samples, right?" Dairy rep: "Yes, they're samples to try our different cheese varieties." Karen: "Perfect. Samples are unlimited by law." She pulled out a plastic shopping bag from her purse and started filling it with cheese cubes. Not just a few extras, but literally scooping handfuls of samples into the bag like she was at a buffet. Dairy rep: "Ma'am, these are meant to be small tastes for customers to try before purchasing." Karen: "I am trying them. I'm trying lots of them." She kept stuffing cheese into her bag, while other customers stared in disbelief. The family with kids moved away from the display, looking uncomfortable. Dairy rep: "Please, this is meant to be a tasting, not a meal replacement." Karen: "Are you telling me there's a limit on free samples? Because that's illegal." I was restocking shelves nearby and could see the situation getting tense. The dairy rep looked completely overwhelmed, so I walked over to help. Excuse me, is there a problem here?" Karen: "Yes, this person is trying to limit my access to free samples, which violates consumer protection laws." Ma'am, the samples are meant for tasting purposes. Taking large quantities defeats the purpose of the promotion." Karen: "Show me where it says there's a limit. I know my rights." She waved her bag around, which was now bulging with cheese cubes. The samples are provided as a courtesy to help customers decide if they'd like to purchase the products." Karen: I'm deciding I like lots of them." Other customers were gathering around to watch this bizarre scene unfold. Some people were taking videos with their phones. Dairy rep: "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to stop taking samples." Karen: "You can't stop me. This is discrimination against customers who appreciate free samples." Ma'am, I need to ask you to return the samples you've taken and limit yourself to reasonable tasting portions." Karen: "Reasonable according to who? I'll decide what's reasonable for my own sampling needs." She clutched the bag protectively against her chest like someone was trying to steal her personal property. If you continue taking excessive amounts, I'll have to ask you to leave the store." Karen: "You can't throw me out for taking free samples. I'll sue this entire company." That's when our security guard appeared. Someone had called him over when they saw the commotion building. "Security, what's going on here?" This customer has taken a large bag full of promotional samples and refuses to return them." Karen: "These are free. Free means I can take as many as I want." Security: "Ma'am, you need to return those samples and shop normally or leave the store." Karen: "I'm not returning anything. These belong to me now." Security: "Those samples are for all customers to try. not for one person to take home. Karen, this is theft. You're stealing my legally obtained free samples. She was getting louder and more agitated, and a crowd was definitely forming around the cheese display. Security, ma'am, last warning. Return the samples or leave. Karen, fine. You want your precious cheese back? She grabbed the bag and hurled it at the floor as hard as she could. Cheese cubes exploded everywhere, bouncing under shelves and scattering across the aisle. Karen, there. Are you happy now? The security guard's expression changed immediately. Security, ma'am, you just created a safety hazard and destroyed store property. You're going to clean that up. Karen, I'm not cleaning anything. That's what employees are for. Security, you made the mess. You're cleaning it up. And then you're banned from this store. Karen, you can't ban me. I'm a paying customer. Security, actually, you haven't paid for anything. And yes, I can ban you for disruptive behavior. He handed her a roll of paper towels from the nearby display. Security, start cleaning. Karen, this is illegal. I'm calling the police. Security, go ahead. I'm sure they'll be interested in hearing about someone who destroyed property and refused to clean up their mess. She looked around at all the people staring at her, phones out, recording her meltdown. Finally, she seemed to realize she'd painted herself into a corner. Karen, this is humiliating. I shouldn't have to clean up cheese. Security, you shouldn't have thrown it on the floor. She spent the next 10 minutes crawling around on her hands and knees, picking up cheese cubes while muttering complaints about customer service and legal rights. Other shoppers stepped around her, some shaking their heads, others openly laughing. When she finished cleaning up her mess, the security guard walked her to the customer service desk. Security, you're banned from this location for 6 months. If you return before then, you'll be arrested for trespassing. Karen, 6 months? That's excessive. I need to shop here. Security should have thought of that before you threw food at the floor. She stormed out of the store, still yelling about lawsuits and discrimination, leaving behind the most entertaining Saturday morning shift any of us had seen in months. The dairy representative ended up giving everyone who witnessed the incident extra samples, and sales of their cheese were higher that day than any previous promotion we'd done. Story 2. I've been driving city buses for Metro Transit for 8 years now. Started right after high school when I needed steady work with good benefits, and I actually love the job most days. You meet all kinds of people, help folks get where they need to go, and become part of the daily routine for regular passengers. Sure, you deal with some difficult people, but most riders are decent and just trying to get through their day. Route 47 is one of the busier lines, running from downtown through 3 different neighborhoods. During rush hour, we're packed with commuters, students, and people running errands. The buses fill up fast, especially around 5 in the evening when everyone's heading home. It was a typical Tuesday rush when I pulled up to 5th Street Station. About 30 people were waiting, including this elderly gentleman with a walking cane who I'd seen on my route before. Nice guy, always said thank you when he got on and off. The bus was already pretty full, but there were still a few seats available, including the priority seating area up front. This woman got on right before the elderly man, and she immediately made a beeline for the priority seat. She plopped down and put her huge designer purse on the seat next to her, then pulled out her phone like she owned the place. The elderly gentleman slowly made his way up the steps with his cane. He looked around for an available seat, and I could see him eyeing the priority area, which is exactly what those seats are for elderly passengers, people with disabilities, pregnant women, anyone who needs them more than the average rider. Elderly man, excuse me, miss. Could I possibly sit there? I have trouble standing for long periods. Karen, sorry, but this seat is taken. She gestured to her purse like it was a person. Elderly man, I just need one seat. Maybe you could move your bag. Karen, my bag cost more than you probably make in a month. I'm not putting it on this dirty floor. I was watching this whole exchange in my mirror, and I could see other passengers starting to pay attention. A few people were shaking their heads at her attitude. Passenger: Ma'am, those are priority seats for people who need them. Karen: I need it too. I've been shopping all day and I'm exhausted. Me: Ma'am, priority seating is reserved for elderly passengers and people with disabilities. You'll need to give up that seat. Karen: I paid the same fare as everyone else. First come, first served. Elderly man: Please, I just need somewhere to sit. My legs aren't what they used to be. Karen: That's not my problem. Maybe you should have gotten on earlier. The whole bus was listening now. People were getting visibly angry at her attitude, and I could hear murmuring about how rude she was being. Me: Ma'am, I'm asking you one more time to give up that priority seat. Karen: And I'm telling you that I'm not moving. I was here first, and my bag needs space too. That's when I'd had enough. I pulled the bus over to the curb and put it in park. Me: Ladies and gentlemen, this bus will not be moving until the priority seating issue is resolved. I picked up the speaker microphone so everyone could hear me clearly. Me: We have an elderly passenger who needs priority seating, but someone is refusing to give up the designated seat for her designer bag. The entire bus turned to look at Karen. You could feel the collective anger from 30 people who just wanted to get home. Passenger: Just move your bag. Lady: Another passenger: Some people have no respect. Third passenger: We're all going to be late because of you. Karen: This is ridiculous. I have rights. Me: You have the right to give up priority seating to people who need it, or you have the right to get off my bus. Karen: You can't kick me off for sitting in a seat. Me: Actually, I can remove any passenger who refuses to follow Metro Transit policies. The pressure from 30 annoyed passengers was building. People were checking their watches, sighing loudly, and making comments about selfish people holding up the whole bus. Karen: Fine, but I'm reporting all of you to the transit authority. She grabbed her precious bag and stood up, making sure everyone knew how put out she was. Karen: This is discrimination against people who can afford nice things. As she walked toward the front of the bus, passengers started a slow clap that built into actual applause. By the time she stepped off, half the bus was cheering. Elderly man: Thank you, driver, and thank you, everyone. He settled into the seat with visible relief, and I could see him flexing his legs like they'd been bothering him more than he'd let on. Me: No problem, sir. That's what those seats are for. As I pulled back into traffic, I heard passengers talking about what they'd just witnessed. Most were amazed that someone would actually refuse to move their purse for an elderly person. Passenger: I can't believe she said her bag needed its own seat. Another passenger: Some people have no shame. Regular passenger: Driver, you did the right thing. I ride this route every day, and that man is always polite to everyone. The rest of the ride was peaceful. The elderly gentleman thanked me again when he got off at his stop, and several other passengers made positive comments about standing up for what's right. Word must have gotten around to other drivers because I heard similar stories over the next few weeks. Apparently, entitled passengers testing bus drivers isn't uncommon, but most people were happy to hear that we won't let people abuse the priority seating system. Sometimes you have to stop the whole bus to remind one person that public transportation means sharing space with consideration for others. Story 3. I've been working at Pages and Pro's independent bookstore for 3 years, starting as a part-time employee while finishing my English literature degree. After graduation, the owner offered me a full-time position as assistant manager, which I gladly accepted. There's something special about working in a place where books are treated with respect and customers come to discover new stories and authors. Our return policy is pretty standard. Books can be returned within 14 days if they're in new condition with the receipt. We make exceptions for damaged books we sold or genuine defects, but we can't accept returns on books that have obviously been read. It's a reasonable policy that most customers understand, especially since we're a small independent store operating on thin margins. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon when she walked in. I was shelving new arrivals when this woman approached the counter where my coworker was helping another customer. She was carrying a paperback novel that looked like it had been through a war zone. Karen, I need to return this book. Coworker, sure, do you have your receipt? Karen, I don't need a receipt. I bought it here last week. My coworker took the book and immediately noticed its condition. The spine was creased, pages were dog-eared throughout, and there were obvious coffee stains on the cover and several pages. Coworker, ma'am, this book appears to have been read. Our policy requires books to be in new condition for returns. Karen, I didn't read it. It came damaged. Coworker, there are bookmarks and notes in the margins, and this coffee stain goes through multiple pages. I walked over to see if I could help resolve the situation. The book was clearly well read, with highlighting on several pages and what looked like crumb residue in the binding. Me, is there a problem with the book itself? A printing error or missing pages? Karen, the problem is the ending was terrible. I want my money back. Me, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy the story, but we can't accept returns based on personal taste. The book appears to have been read completely. Karen, I skimmed it. I didn't actually read the whole thing. Me, ma'am, there are handwritten notes throughout the book and bookmarks on dozens of pages. This has clearly been read cover to cover. Karen, that's not my writing. I opened the book to a random page where someone had written, "This character is so annoying," in blue ink. The handwriting matched the signature on the credit card receipt she just handed us. Me, the handwriting matches your signature here. Karen, you can't prove that. Me, ma'am, even if this wasn't your writing, we can't accept returns on damaged merchandise. Look at these coffee stains and food crumbs. Karen, those were already there when I bought it. Coworker, we would never sell a book in this condition. Our staff checks every book before it goes on the shelf. Karen, are you calling me a liar? Me, I'm explaining our return policy. We can't accept this return. She stared at us for a moment. Then her face turned red with anger. Karen, this is ridiculous. I'm a loyal customer. I have a loyalty card. Me, we appreciate your business, but the policy applies to all customers equally. Karen, I've spent hundreds of dollars here. You owe me this refund. Me, being a frequent customer doesn't change our return policy for damaged books. Karen, fine, I'll never shop here again. Me, that's your choice, ma'am. Instead of leaving, she grabbed the book off the counter and hurled it across the store. It flew past another customer's head and knocked over a display of bookmarks near the poetry section. Me, ma'am, you need to leave immediately. Karen, I'm not going anywhere until I get my refund. Me, I'm calling the manager. Our manager emerged from the back office, having heard the commotion. I quickly explained what had happened while Karen continued ranting about customer service. Manager, ma'am, throwing merchandise is completely unacceptable. I'm asking you to leave. Karen, I demand to speak to the owner. Manager, I am the owner, and you're no longer welcome in this store. Karen, you can't ban me. I'm a paying customer. Manager, you just threw a book at another customer. You're banned permanently. The manager walked over to our computer system and pulled up Karen's loyalty account. Manager, what's your phone number? Karen, why do you need that? Manager, to cancel your loyalty card and remove you from our system. Karen, you can't do that. I've earned points. Manager, those points are forfeited. You're permanently banned from this store. The other customers in the store had stopped browsing to watch the drama unfold. Karen looked around at their disapproving faces and seemed to realize she'd gone too far. Karen, this is discrimination. I'll report you to the Better Business Bureau. Manager, that's your right. The door is behind you. As Karen stormed toward the exit, still muttering about lawsuits and customer rights, the other customer who'd nearly been hit by the flying book spoke up. Customer, thank you for handling that appropriately. I can't believe someone would throw a book in a bookstore. Manager, I'm sorry you had to witness that. Are you okay? Customer, I'm fine. Actually, I think I'll sign up for a loyalty card. You clearly know how to treat books with respect here. After Karen left, we spent a few minutes cleaning up the bookmark display and checking the thrown book for additional damage. It was still readable, so we put it in our discount section with a note about its condition. The best part came 2 weeks later when Karen tried to return, apparently forgetting she'd been banned. Security cameras don't lie, and neither does our computer system that flagged her banned status the moment she walked in. Story 4. I've been working at Paws and Claws Pet Store for about 10 months now. I started here during my gap year after high school, originally planning to save money for college, but I've ended up loving the work so much that I'm considering studying veterinary medicine instead. There's something special about helping people find their perfect pet companion and making sure all our animals get proper care while they wait for homes. The pet store is family-owned and has been in business for over 20 years. We pride ourselves on working only with reputable breeders and maintaining high standards for animal care. All our puppies come with health certificates, vaccination records, and microchips. We're not one of those places that sources from puppy mills. Every animal here is treated with love and respect until they find their forever families. My main responsibilities include cleaning enclosures, feeding the animals, helping customers, and processing adoption paperwork. The owner has been teaching me about different breeds, proper nutrition, and basic animal health. It's given me hands-on experience that you can't get from textbooks, and I've discovered I have a real knack for understanding animal behavior. Last Saturday was busier than usual since it was the weekend before Valentine's Day. A lot of couples come in around holidays thinking a puppy would make a romantic gift, which always makes us cringe. Pets aren't presents, and impulse purchases rarely work out well for anyone involved. We always spend extra time with holiday shoppers to make sure they understand the commitment they're making. Around noon, this woman walked in and made a beeline straight for our puppy area. She was well dressed, carrying designer bags, and had that look of someone accustomed to getting her way. She spent about 5 minutes looking at different puppies before focusing on a golden retriever puppy that had just arrived the day before. The puppy was absolutely adorable, 8 weeks old, perfectly healthy, and from champion bloodlines. He was priced at $1,200, which was actually reasonable considering his pedigree and the health testing done on his parents. He'd been a bit overwhelmed by all the new sights and sounds after arriving from the breeder, so he was sitting quietly in his enclosure instead of bouncing around like some of the other puppies. "Karen, I want this puppy, but there's obviously something wrong with it. It looks depressed." "Me, he's actually perfectly healthy. He just arrived yesterday and he's still adjusting to the new environment. Some puppies are naturally calmer than others." "Karen, no, something's definitely wrong. Look how sad he is just sitting there." I explained that the puppy had been examined by our veterinarian that morning and received a clean bill of health. I showed her his paperwork, vaccination records, and health certificate from the breeder. "Me, he's just got a gentle personality. Golden retrievers can vary quite a bit in energy levels, especially as young puppies." "Karen, well, if he's damaged goods, I should get a discount. I'll take him for $800. "Me, ma'am, he's not damaged at all. He's a healthy, well-bred puppy with full registration papers. The price is firm at $1,200. "Karen, that's ridiculous. Nobody's going to pay full price for a defective puppy that just sits there looking miserable." I tried explaining again that there was nothing wrong with the puppy, but she kept insisting he looked broken and demanding a lower price. The puppy was actually starting to warm up and had come to the front of his enclosure, wagging his little tail. "Karen, see? Even now he barely has any energy. I'm doing you a favor by taking him off your hands." My manager came over to see what was taking so long. "Manager, is there something I can help you with?" Karen launched into her whole speech about the defective puppy and demanding a discount. My manager patiently explained our pricing policy and the puppy's excellent health and breeding. "Manager, this puppy is priced appropriately for his quality and pedigree. If you're interested in a lower-priced pet, we have some wonderful mixed breeds that might be more in your budget. Karen, I don't want a mutt. I want this one, and I want it for $800. Manager, I'm sorry, but that's not possible. The price is $1,200. Karen stared at us for a moment, then suddenly reached into the puppy's enclosure and picked him up. Karen, fine, if you won't be reasonable about the price, I'll just take him. She started walking quickly toward the front door, carrying the confused puppy. Ma'am, you can't just take the puppy without paying. Karen, I told you I was taking him. You had your chance to negotiate. As soon as she reached the door, the security alarm started blaring. We have sensors on all the animal enclosures that trigger if someone removes a pet without disabling them at the register. Our security guard immediately stepped in front of the door. Security guard, ma'am, I need you to stop right there and hand over the puppy. Karen, this is my puppy now. I'm rescuing him from your terrible care. Security guard, you need to return the animal immediately or I'll have to call the police. Karen, call them. They'll see that I was justified in saving this poor creature. The security guard radioed for police backup while I gently took the puppy from Karen's arms. The little guy seemed stressed from all the commotion and was shaking slightly. When the police arrived 5 minutes later, Karen tried explaining her rescue theory, but the officers weren't buying it. Police officer, ma'am, taking merchandise without paying is theft, regardless of your reasoning. Karen, but the puppy was clearly being neglected. It was sad. Police officer, the animal appears healthy and well cared for. You attempted to leave the store without paying for merchandise valued at $1,200. They issued her a citation for attempted theft and banned her from the store property. As they escorted her out, she was still yelling about how we were abusing animals by not giving her the discount she deserved. The golden retriever puppy found his real forever home 2 days later with a lovely family who paid full price and was thrilled to have him. Sometimes the right families are worth waiting for. Story 5. I've been working as a park ranger for the city for about 4 years now. I started this job because I love being outdoors and helping people enjoy our public spaces safely. The main city park covers over 100 acres with hiking trails, playgrounds, picnic areas, and a small lake. It's especially busy on weekends when families come out for barbecues and kids' birthday parties. Most visitors are respectful and follow basic park etiquette. People bring their own food, clean up after themselves, and generally respect each other's space. The picnic areas have dozens of tables, but many families prefer to spread blankets on the grass for a more relaxed experience. Part of my job involves patrolling the park to make sure everyone is following the rules and having a good time. I help with everything from lost children to unleashed dogs to the occasional dispute over picnic tables. Most problems are easy to resolve with a friendly conversation. Last Sunday was a beautiful day, so the park was packed with families enjoying the weather. I was making my usual rounds when I noticed a commotion near the main picnic area. A woman was standing over a family's blanket, talking loudly and gesturing at their food. This family had obviously put a lot of effort into their picnic. They had a large checkered blanket spread out with a full spread of homemade food. There were sandwiches, salad, fruit, and what looked like birthday cake. Based on the decorations and balloons, it was clearly a child's birthday party. Karen, this looks delicious. You guys really went all out. Father, thank you. We're celebrating our daughter's 7th birthday. Karen, that's so sweet. I love how parks bring the community together. We should all share what we have. Mother, that's a nice thought. Are you here with family today? Karen, actually, I was hoping you might share some of your food with me. Parks are communal spaces after all. I could see the family's confused expressions from about 20 feet away. This was definitely not a normal request. Father, I'm sorry, but this food is for our daughter's birthday party. There's a snack bar near the playground if you're hungry. Karen, come on, you have way more food than you need. Sharing is caring. Mother, We actually have exactly enough for our guests. They should be arriving soon. Karen, that's selfish. Public parks are for everyone to enjoy together. The family was clearly uncomfortable. The birthday girl, a little girl in a pink dress, was hiding behind her mother looking scared. Father, ma'am, please leave us alone. This is a private family celebration. Karen, there's no such thing as private in a public park. Everything here is communal. That's when I decided to intervene. This was clearly harassment and the family needed help. Excuse me, is there a problem here? Karen, finally, an authority figure. Tell these people they need to share their food. Actually, ma'am, families are entitled to enjoy their own food without being bothered by strangers. Karen, that's ridiculous. Parks are community spaces. We should all share resources. Public parks don't require visitors to share personal belongings with strangers. Please leave this family alone. Karen, this is discrimination. I'm being excluded from a community gathering. Father, officer, we just want to celebrate our daughter's birthday in peace. Of course. Ma'am, you need to move along and let this family enjoy their picnic. Instead of leaving, Karen actually stepped onto their blanket and reached for one of the sandwiches. Karen, fine. If you won't share willingly, I'll help myself. Mother, don't touch our food. Karen grabbed a sandwich that looked like it was made with some kind of special filling and took a huge bite. The family watched in horror as this stranger ate their homemade food. Immediately, Karen's expression changed from smug satisfaction to disgust. Karen, ugh, what is this? It tastes terrible. She spit the chewed-up sandwich right onto their blanket, contaminating the food and ruining their setup. Mother, that's my daughter's peanut butter and pickle sandwich. It's her favorite. Birthday girl, that's my special sandwich. Why did she eat it? Karen, who puts pickles with peanut butter? That's disgusting. Father, you just destroyed our daughter's birthday food. This is unacceptable. At this point, I had seen enough. Karen had clearly crossed the line from being annoying to committing harassment and potentially theft. Ma'am, you're under citation for harassment and disturbing the peace. Karen, you can't cite me for eating a sandwich. You took someone else's property without permission and then contaminated their food. That's theft and harassment. I pulled out my citation book and started writing her up. The family was trying to salvage what they could of their picnic, but the blanket was now covered in chewed-up sandwich. Karen, this is outrageous. I demand to speak to your supervisor. You can file a complaint at the park office. Your citation number is here on this ticket. Karen, how much is this stupid fine? $150 for harassment, plus you're banned from the park for 30 days. Karen, banned. You can't ban me from a public park. Actually, I can and I am. Please gather your belongings and leave immediately. The family was grateful, but their celebration was definitely dampened by the incident. Father, thank you so much, officer. We couldn't believe what just happened. Mother, who thinks they can just take someone else's food like that? I'm really sorry your daughter's party was disrupted. Would you like me to escort you to a different area of the park? Birthday girl, will the mean lady come back? No, sweetie. She's not allowed back in the park for a whole month. After Karen left, several other families who had witnessed the incident came over to check on the birthday family. One family even shared some of their extra food to help replace what had been ruined. Helpful family, we have plenty of sandwiches if you need some for the party. Another family, that was absolutely terrible what happened. Let us know if you need anything. The story spread quickly through the local parenting community. By the next week, it had become a cautionary tale about entitled behavior at public spaces. The most satisfying part was that Karen actually tried to appeal her citation and park ban. She filed a complaint claiming I had violated her rights to use public facilities. The Parks Department reviewed the incident, watched security footage from nearby cameras, and upheld both the fine and the ban. Her appeal letter apparently argued that Parks are communal spaces where everyone should share resources. The parks director told me it was the most ridiculous complaint he had ever received.